In the summer of 1914, Europe seemed like a picture of peace and prosperity. Its great empires stretched across the globe, their cities bustling with progress and culture. But this calm was just a thin veil over a continent simmering with rivalries. Underneath the surface, a complex web of military alliances, colonial ambitions, and rising nationalism was pulling everyone closer to a breaking point. The world was a magnificent house of cards, beautiful but dangerously fragile, standing on the very edge of disaster. At the heart of this tension lay the Balkans, a region so volatile it was known as the powder keg of Europe. Here, the mighty Austro-Hungarian Empire ruled over many different ethnic groups, including millions of Serbs who dreamed of their own independent nation. This burning nationalism was a constant threat to the stability of the old empires. Serbia, newly emboldened, championed this cause, creating a flashpoint where the ambitions of great powers like Austria-Hungary and Russia were destined to collide. The fuse was lit, just waiting for a spark. That spark came on June 28, 1914. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, decided to visit Sarajevo, the capital of the recently annexed province of Bosnia. It was a calculated display of imperial power on a day deeply symbolic to Serbian nationalists. For the Archduke, it was a routine state visit. For history, it was a fatal mistake. The air in Sarajevo was thick with resentment, and a group of young revolutionaries, armed and determined, saw this visit as their one chance to strike a blow for their cause. The day began with a botched assassination attempt. A bomb was thrown at the Archduke's motorcade, but it bounced off his car and exploded under the vehicle behind, injuring several people. Shaken but unharmed, Franz Ferdinand insisted on continuing with his schedule, but with one change: he wanted to visit the wounded in the hospital. This deviation from the planned route would prove to be a deadly twist of fate. As the convoy made its way through the city, the driver, unfamiliar with the new route, took a wrong turn. He stopped the car to reverse, right in front of a cafe where one of the assassins, a young man named Gavrilo Princip, was standing. Princip had thought his chance was lost. Now, unbelievably, his target was stopped just a few feet away. He drew his pistol and fired 2 shots. One struck the Archduke's wife, Sophie, and the other hit Franz Ferdinand in the neck. Within minutes, they were both dead, and the world was forever changed. The assassination unleashed a diplomatic firestorm. Austria-Hungary, outraged and looking to crush Serbian nationalism once and for all, issued an impossible ultimatum to Serbia. When Serbia couldn't meet every demand, Austria-Hungary declared war. This was the first domino to fall. Russia, seeing itself as the protector of the Slavic peoples, began to mobilize its massive army to support Serbia. Germany, allied with Austria-Hungary, then declared war on Russia and its ally, France. When German troops invaded neutral Belgium to attack France, Great Britain declared war on Germany. The intricate system of alliances, designed to keep the peace, had instead dragged the entire continent into conflict. What began as a regional crisis in the Balkans exploded into a global catastrophe. Soldiers from across the world were sent to fight in the muddy, disease-ridden trenches that scarred the landscapes of Europe. This was a new kind of war, defined by machine guns, heavy artillery, and poison gas, weapons that turned battlefields into industrial slaughterhouses. The romantic notions of glorious combat quickly dissolved into a brutal, grinding reality of attrition and unimaginable horror. Millions of young men were caught in a deadly stalemate, fighting and dying for inches of ground. By the time the guns finally fell silent in 1918, the cost was staggering. Over 16 million people, soldiers and civilians alike, were dead. Entire generations were lost. Great empires that had stood for centuries, the Austro-Hungarian, the German, the Russian, and the Ottoman, crumbled into dust. The map of Europe was completely redrawn, and the war's brutal legacy of trauma and resentment would sow the seeds for future conflicts. All of this, sparked by 2 bullets fired on a street corner in Sarajevo. This brings us to the ultimate question. Was the Great War really caused by one man and one bullet? Or was Europe a tinderbox just waiting for any spark to set it ablaze? Was Gavrilo Princip the cause, or just the catalyst for a disaster that was already inevitable? The assassination of Franz Ferdinand was the trigger, but the gun was already loaded by years of imperial rivalry, unchecked militarism, and fervent nationalism. History shows us how a single moment, a single decision, a single wrong turn can have consequences that ripple across the entire world, changing the course of humanity forever. Thank you for watching. If you want to uncover more of the pivotal moments that shaped our world, make sure to subscribe and join us for our next journey into the past.